the bus station coming up. And then Mombasa Road is also busy. Langata Road is busy around Makadara heading into town. That goes also into the Douglas Wakehori Road. Langata Road is also now very busy up to Timol Junction, and Raila Odinga Way is picking up. Mombasa Road, as you can expect, you'd have issues near City Cabanas. Yes. You'd have issues at Imara Daima. Yes. You'd have issues at General Motors. Yes. Do you have the issues on Outer Ring Road? Yes. Outer Ring Road and North Airport Road. Do you have issues on Jogoo Road? Yes, you do. At Makadara. Do you have issues on Landis Road? Of course you do. Do you have issues on Gong Road? Yes. At the lights and the roundabout, City Mocha roundabout specifically. Now, how's it coming in towards town from Westlands? It's busy as you approach the university, not university, but the expressway, and that's the Brookside Grove Junction. That way it gets busy. James Geshoro Road heading into Wayaki Way is also busy.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation.
It is 9 minutes after 8 on this 7th day of August 2024. Tomorrow, I hope we'll get that to that at 8 minutes after 8 on the 8th of August. Nane.
We'll time it.
Kabisa, huh?
Yeah,
we will time it. Please remind me. We time
I
it.
will remind you.
Come up and say, ni nane. Sa nane. Nane. Our next conversation is going to be about what's happening. So we expect that the National Assembly Committee on Appointments will be presenting its report to the National Assembly today with regards to all those 20 cabinet nominees that they interviewed over the weekend. There's already news that maybe the committee has approved all of them. So would it be a good thing, or would it be a bad thing? Are people happy with the process of that entire vetting? Okay, are people feeling that the country and the leadership of the country is now responding to what Kenyans really have been saying when they say that we are the sovereign and we feel that we want more accountability, we want a more responsive government? Are they feeling that? These and more, what we'll be discussing now with Herman Manyora, political analyst, who's in the studio. Herman, good morning.
Morning, Shuladi.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for inviting me. But more so, let me say thank you and kudos for a good interview. The one you had with His Excellency the President.
Asansana.
William, it was well conducted. And on behalf of Kenyans, I must thank you. It's a good interview.
Kabisa.
You can pass the same to your colleagues, Joage
And Linus.
The Maasai boy. It was a wonderful.
Linus will get the message.
Why are we not thanking the president for having made it possible?
Of course, that goes without saying.
Yes.
It's true.
Yeah, the
Credit
moment
to
I
him
say,
as well.
The moment I say His Excellency,
Yes.
it means I am.
Herman, it's good to see you.
Thank you.
It's good to always see you when you're in your age and you're looking good.
Yeah. I thank God for every inch of life. Yeah.
Do you do regular medical checkups?
Hey, that is another problem. I'm an African.
Okay, now we need to talk to this man.
I am an African.
No, let me talk to him.
Yes.
Because my years are also not few.
Yes.
Okay? The Aga Khan University Hospital
Correct.
has done something very unique. They have outlets and branches all over
Correct.
the country. Not just the city, but within the city of Nairobi, there are very many.
I've seen
And this is what they're saying. Look, in a country like ours or anywhere else, the one priority one should have is to ensure that they remain healthy and well. And the only way you can do that is if you have a comprehensive medical check. Now, most people believe that a checkup simply requires a lot of money and a lot of time, and most people say they can't afford it. The Akan Hospital is saying, look, if you go to any of their branches, literally any, the amount you need to consider is 9,950 Kenyan shillings.
Okay.
They will afford you a comprehensive checkup.
Comprehensive.
The word, underline it in red, circle it in green. Comprehensive checkup for that amount. And when you get to a certain age, Herman, the sort of age that you and I exhibit here, twice a year is useful. Simply look for the money, go and get it. The reason is this. If you know you have a condition and it is detected in its early stages, managing it is so much easier. It stops being a problem.
Right.
If you wait until it manifests, then it is a problem.
I think you are right. As we speak, I have a friend at Aga Khan, the same Aga Khan hospital, admitted yesterday night. He's in the ICU, a friend find John. Just abruptly, and you look at him, just abruptly. There was,
He was well, and then suddenly...
Yeah, suddenly. And,
yes. That is what you want to ensure that you prevent a situation where suddenly, because it's manifested, but it was there before it manifested.
I think we need to take that chance from Aga Khan. Yes. Yeah,
It's important.
special guys, we need an extra year or two. Life becomes sweet as you grow older.
Two, Chief. I'm thinking 30.
Every new day. And all the
Yes.
best to your friend, Peter.
Yeah,
Is
I hope
John?
we pray for John. Yeah.
All the best. All the best to him. And also to your friends and family. So, Siti,
Yes.
Patiemze,
There is-
proverb.
The proverb we have is from the Republic of Botswana. But I'm going to mention a second proverb because there was a request for it. Okay, a Maragoli proverb.
Okay.
So let me...
From Ngutia.
Yes.
Radio France International.
Yes. Now, this is the proverb that we have for this particular day from the Republic of Botswana. Don't laugh at the fallen, for the slippery path is still ahead.
Let's hear that one first.
Don't laugh.
At the fallen,
Yes.
for the slippery path is still ahead. That is today's proverb. Yes.
My friend who sent was called Ingati.
Okay, now, Ingati, for you,
Yes, we
this is a
believe-
Maragoli proverb.
Yes.
Okay? He who does not see his mother in her youth may think his father threw away the cows.
Is that telepath or what? That's the one I had in mind when he said. What is all this?
What do you mean?
Honest to God, I'm not lying. That's the one I had in mind. What? Utala nyina mbuka na dada yako zingombe. That's how Maragoli. Because you didn't see your mother when she was young, you think your father just threw
You're looking at it
What is
like,
this? Aliwa kitu gani? Hii ngombe alitupa tu. Thank you. And the other one?
That is the Maragoli proverb.
Yeah, which is true.
Yes.
It's a very popular Maragoli.
But just so that you understand, I did a little work on it. Let me tell you a second one, just for consumption. The one with many uncles slept hungry.
The one with many uncles slept hungry.
This one I read, but I didn't understand it.
I can tell you.
Yes.
You know, normally, when there is hunger, people, they go to Suma, Kusuma. That's how the name Kisumu
Came into being.
Kusuma is you go to your relatives. They may admonish you for being a lazy farmer.
Yes.
But you won't leave them empty-handed.
They'll give you food.
So you come with food. So now, if you have many, it may lead into thinking every season.
You don't have to work.
So when you go there now, because of that laziness.
So the one with many uncles slept hungry.
Yes,
because the uncles came visiting.
You know, you
And they
take it
took the
for
food.
granted.
You take it that you'll be going to them. So you don't...
So inafika mahali wanasema baba inatosha.
Wanaambiana.
Yes.
Wanaambia ukimwona huyu ametokea wachana na yeye.
Yeah,
He doesn't want to be...
Ignore.
Ignore him. Then you come back and sleep hungry. Yeah.
Okay. So don't be lazy.
No, don't. Be industrious.
Be industrious. Don't think about
Stand
your
for
uncles.
yourself. Correct.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
I hope Ngat is happy.
I am hoping you will tell us. I hope he has heard, and I hope
he's happy.
His message was received.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. So Herman,
Yes.
since this protest began, we haven't had a conversation with you here.
Yeah.
So we want to start
You're
from that
unfair.
point.
You're unfair to me.
We invited you, but I think you're very busy.
We will not mention where you went, but you were busy.
I was busy. Okay.
Yeah?
You are right.
So, what do you make of these protests from the beginning to where they have reached to tomorrow's planned protest?
The Gen Z process. My position and my understanding is very clear that this is a revolution. First, as a country, we must know things are not going to be the same anymore. But we should also have the benefit of what has happened elsewhere, most recently being Bangladesh, to inform our future action and even, in fact, current action. But more and more seriously, we must know this is a global trend. This is a global trend. The world is going to change. Those who change with the world will benefit. Those who try to resist will be swept off their feet. So my understanding is that the Gen Zs are just doing what I saw doing the rounds on WhatsApp and other places. Some Zungu man is saying there is a powerful force of nature sweeping across the world. A very powerful force of nature. Then we are waiting to hear what it is. Then he says it is youth. It's across the world. You saw it has even informed American policy and action on Israel. Right? America has not been as proactive in their support for Israel in the recent days as it was traditional. You remember there were many campus riots. Young people telling America, no, you can't support Israel to massacre innocent people in Hamas. Young people on American campuses. They were American children of all races.
Yes, they were.
Yeah. So this powerful force is now manifest in our country. And the best we can do for ourselves is to listen to the young people. Because they are our children. Listen to them. Correct them where they are wrong. Tell them running a government is not a cup of tea. You see, but before you tell them that, they must know you have listened. And how do they know you have listened? By doing certain things that are obvious, that will cost you nothing. You get it?
Such
the
as?
so-called low-hanging fruits, such as just constituting a good cabinet, such as stopping the opulence going on in the country, such as denying your friends access to money which they show off. Simple things. Those things, they don't cost you anything. Before you go to things that can cost the government money, just do those things that will cost you nothing. Just some courage. The courage to tell your friend, "Ai, hapa kimeumana. You just go home, we can do other businesses with you. Take some time, go to Angola, start ranching, I'll support you." But a cabinet minister, hapa kimeumana, you can't be a minister. No. You know that you require some little courage. Because some people are facing serious challenges. So if you find a prime minister or a president, if you look at the demands placed on them, you can understand why they take time to act. But for us, many of the things these people are talking are just common sense things. And I've not even come across anything, any demand on the president that will call for him to go at home and think through the night. I've not seen these simple things.
To us, it may seem simple, but let me just invest this slightly and ask, what is it that is within the genetic makeup of Kenyan political leadership that, to begin with, gets them to the point where they are doing what they are doing and doing so with impunity and repeatedly? And we've seen it successively. That very thing that allows them to think that they can get away with everything that they have been doing and that it can be rectified by a few words, by a few token activities. And when an opportunity for real change comes about, you see a repeat of the same tokenism. What is it in our makeup that makes these people think that this is how they can go about the business?
No, it's not in our genetic makeup.
I was very careful when I said the political class.
Yeah, political class,
leadership.
the genetic makeup.
Yes.
I understand you.
Yes.
And I want to tell you it's nothing, it's not something difficult to understand. It's just our history. When we got independence, most of us in Africa and some other places like us, we didn't understand what independence was. We didn't understand what it meant to be a president of a country. And those who are living took advantage of our ignorance and our stupidity and our greed. And then led us, encouraged us on the path of grabbing, primitive accumulation and recklessness with power. That's how impunity started. And it has grown over the years. And it led to the many coups in the 60s and the 70s. So that's it. It's not easy to live. I'm looking for a better English word. It's not easy to depart from bad habits. What our politicians are exhibiting is bad manners, bad habits that have accumulated over the years. So you become president and you think you are a god. You see, and you can't, it's not Ruto, it's not Uhuru, it's not Kenyatta, all of them in Africa. They haven't quite understood his service. So we need to re-engineer our politics to make those who get into power know that they get to power to serve, not to accumulate wealth, and not to lord it over others.
Haman, think of it. Let's think, there are those who argue, those who studied psychology and other human behavioral sciences tell you that the language we speak very much influences our behavior.
Correct.
Now, what is the word in our vernacular for leader?
For leader?
Leader.
Uh-huh.
Because I'm thinking of it in my...
Your language. What do you share with us? With the
king.
Latin, which is a king.
Yes.
But that's part of the problem. And in some, but you see, like in our case,
ruler essentially is a ruler.
If you read Jomo Kenyatta's Facing Mount Kenya, he says the Kikuyu never had a king; they had leadership by consensus.
Yes. So
you cannot use that to explain Kenyatta's transgressions and excesses.
Was Ruoth not a chair of a council?
No. Ruoth, if you look at it, was actually a chief, not the village elder.
A chief.
The village elder was Ker. Okay? It is the chief. Because a colonial chief wielded so much power.
Colonial, not African chief.
No, colonial. They were African, but in the colonial, they wielded so much power.
Correct.
They had an act that enabled them to do anything, and the godlike facilities.
And
but
you see, they were encouraged by the British system of rule.
Yes.
Because then you pump a few people, give them excess power so that they can allow you.
They can dominate their own people on your behalf.
Yeah.
If you are looking
So
for
before the colonizer, what was that structure of leadership?
Oh, the structure of leadership was very democratic among the community I come from. If you find, for instance, women from my community, the Luo community, vocal, it is because community meetings and gatherings allowed women not only to attend but also speak.
to speak.
Everyone was allowed to speak. So everybody had a voice. And you're actually allowed to simply sit and speak. And then you ask, are you through? Then you go to the next one. And again, the leadership had to do with your own personal achievement and prowess.
Yeah.
You had to have a track
You have
record.
something.
Yes, you had to have a track record. And when you're a leader in the community, the reason why people came to you was because not only people argue, but why did people give you things? Well, you sorted out issues. You are the person people came to solve issues. It was too much for you. Then there were other people like you who would gather together and to listen to these issues. But you are somebody who had proven that you had the hearts of the community just beyond you.
And there was, in many of these traditional societies, if you look at the structure of governance, there was very little room for dictatorship. Because if you do some simple analysis and study, you'll find many of the decisions were never made by an individual.
No.
However powerful.
They never were.
Even in societies which worshipped somebody like the Rainmaker or the Laibon, there still was always a council that worked with him. And there are certain decisions where you can, if you read in traditional literature, folklore, they lock themselves in a room, pretty much like they're waiting for the smoke during to make a decision. So that tells you it wasn't a one-man decision.
It wasn't.
So that's why I'm going back to where I said our African leaders were actually made to think they were gods. It begins with a choice, and these Africans must know. The people who actually became our first presidents were not the people who ought to have been presidents. It's not even Mandela who should have been the president of South Africa, the first black president. There were people like Steve Biko, of black consciousness, people who really wanted change for the African person. The Mandelas of this world, as much as we think they are gods, they were worked on, prepared. You You remember he was even isolated from the other inmates and put in a special place to be prepared to become president. The same with Kenyatta. The same with all these others. In other words, they they jumped the queue. So you can imagine a Kenya with people like Dedan Kimathi and other riffraffs taking over. So you clear those ones and prepare the mission boys to take over. These were mission boys, and we have to be honest with ourselves. If we are going to change Africa, we have to go back to see how come these individuals have allowed foreigners to exploit their countries and the continent, so that we live in abject poverty and we sit on all the minerals. I understand the minerals in this country. We are not a mineral-rich country.
We are.
No, I'm saying we are not. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
But I understand.
Yes.
Even with the little we have, if we start to exploit our minerals sensibly, not by giving some mzungu so that he pays some fee, 20 million shillings, and then, no, we exploit like with them together. They have the technology, they have the capital. Then we share in a reasonable way. We can pay our debts in just a year or two and never borrow again. So how come our leaders never allowed this to happen? They were wrongly chosen. They were the wrong people to start leading Africa. They were prepared. They were trained in Europe, you see, and made to see the world in a certain way. And they can't depart from that world.
You're saying that's why it's difficult for them to hear their people?
Yeah.
So when the people come out,
to hear their people.
and the people come out
They are
and say,
not
we'd
meant
like
to-
change, they don't hear
No,
it.
they don't hear. They were not meant to listen to the people. First of all, education itself is alienating. You can't get a Maasai boy, educate him, then you expect him to go back to the Manyata. He comes to say Lavington. So, the Western education itself, it serves them well. It never gets a British child goes through education. That education prepares him or her to be a British citizen. Okay? To mingle with fellow citizens. But ours prepares us to
dominate.
to run away from our people. And whenever we get an opportunity of leadership, to dominate them on behalf of the colonizers
master.
and the former colonizers. So you cannot blame this arrangement unless you go to the history and dismantle it. And I'm wanting to believe, CT and Eric, I'm wanting to believe that this revolution could just do that, could do just that.
You think it?
To demolish the infrastructure put in place by the Mzungu to help the African lord over fellow Africans. And if you know I'm right, look at the 1960s and early 70s. The preoccupation of the president was to protect his presidency. All state resources were put at his disposal to protect his presidency. All his enemies were created for him by the CIA. All the professors who were being detained, one had nothing. I laughed when one of them, Mkarunganga, came up now that you can now speak. So you want to run for president. Remember that day, is it Kivuitu or somebody was allocating, you hand in your certificate, your application, they go through, City Muga, you are now a candidate. You are allocated City Stadium. Another one, yeah, you remember that time? Mkarunganga was allocated City Stadium. There was nobody there. There are a few dogs moving there. But and yet we have been made to believe these guys could take the government any minute. So these were artificial enemies created. You get it?
Let's take a break. We'll be back shortly. This is 29 minutes to 9. Kenya's biggest conversation is hosting Herman Manyora, political analyst. We are looking at what's going on in the country. So yes, the Gen Z protests and the call for accountability and better governance. The response by those in leadership. President William Ruto disbanded the cabinet, took back the finance bill and said, okay, forget about this one. Trying to adjust the budget.